We're talking about triggers today, emotional triggers, because I notice in myself and I notice all with every couple I've ever met, every individual I've ever met, that we can all be triggered by our past experiences, our learnings, our understandings, how we struggled to cope in the world when we were young. That really informs how we react and respond to relationships, work colleagues, most definitely family now. And I'll give you an example after I've explained the steps as I've seen them to working with triggers in a way that becomes incredibly healing rather than incredibly divisive in relationships. First thing to do is notice. You have to notice. When I get triggered, I go into fear, anxiety, panic sometimes. I become accusing. I lash out instead of being able to own the feelings that I'm struggling with. I don't even notice the feelings that I'm struggling with. I think that it's his fault, my partner's fault. I can become aggressive. I can cry. I can get upset with him. I can shut down emotionally. I can become silent. My God, I can become anything when I'm being triggered in a big way or in a small way. And what I've learned that when I react like that, it begins to disintegrate the trust between us. And if my partner can't handle my trigger and he gets triggered, it really goes into a bad place. So it matters to me deeply. My whole relationship is at stake. My relationship with myself is at stake, let alone my partner or other people I might get triggered with. So the first thing I do is I notice. I notice that I'm being triggered. I notice that I'm overreacting to the situation. And I have to own that. So if I can, I'll take myself away, even just to the loo for a couple of minutes, try and acknowledge that this huge reaction I'm feeling is actually a trigger from something I learned in the past. I learned that I needed to shut down. Then I say to that younger part of myself who is trying so desperately to take control of the situation, I say, I see you. I see you. I see your pain. I see how frightened you are. I remember the experiences that made you respond like that. And I've got you. And I try and say this from my wise, or at least my loving adult self, my loving feminine adult self. And then I say to the reaction, the fear, the shutting down, the armoring, the attacking, I say to that part of myself, thank you, thank you, thank you for trying to protect me, for trying to keep me safe. But I've got this now. I, my adult feminine self, I've got this now. I'm going to deal with this in my adult feminine self kind of way. I'm not going to shut down. I choose to stay open. I choose to stay heart open and to let my partner see the real me, the real experiences behind the wanting to shut down. That's what I try and do. It doesn't work every time, but I'm getting better at it. So the example is a few weeks ago, my partner and I had a misunderstanding. He thought he was coming back at 12 p.m. I thought he was coming back at 11 a.m. Just a misunderstanding. So 11 a.m. comes and goes. I'm okay. 11:15, I'm really beginning to be quite triggered, thinking, what the fuck? Does he not actually love me? Is he pissing around? Like, what's going on? Does he not respect me? And I could feel the anger and the fear and all these defense mechanisms, the adrenaline, the fight or flight, was pretty much by 1/4 past, pretty much in full mode. By 11:30, I was really deeply triggered. And he texts me, "Hi babe, how you doing?" I text him back, "I'm okay. When are you coming back?" And he replied, "Oh, I'll be back by 12, don't worry." He thinks everything's fine. 12 o'clock, and in he rolls exactly on time. Hiya. And I'm sat on the settee. I've chosen not to give in to my triggers, not to speak to him out of my triggers, which would destroy the trust between us. He sees my face. He drops his coat and his keys. He comes and sits beside me. He says to me, full of concern, "What's the matter?" And I try as best I can to be heart open, which means I burst into tears. And I say, "I thought you were coming back at 11. Like, what's the matter? Why are you late? I don't understand. I'm feeling so hurt by this. Like, what's going on?" He hugs me, great big hug. And anyways, we talk it through. He explains what he'd thought. He's so sorry that I'm so hurt by this. He's desperately sorry, but he didn't get triggered himself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And he was deeply moved at how open I was. And it became one of the most healing experiences of my life because I was so open. It allowed a huge stress response. I started shaking and shivering and crying, which I was doing. And I released so much old trauma, so much old stress response that was locked in my body. And truly, honestly, it was one of the most healing experiences of my life. And I will never forget that. And I want to tell you that you too can work with these triggers because we've all got them. And it matters maybe more than anything in our relationships. If you want to go deeper, to work with these triggers deeper, you can book a free coaching session with me, Maria Mountain, personal and relationship transformation coach. I'll put the link to book a free session with me below. Maybe one free session is all you need just to get you going. If you don't want to book a session with me, if you're not interested in that, if you're not interested in going deeper at the moment, absolutely fine. I hope this video helps you. The last thing I'm going to say is it's also really important to own our reactions. I have to own my triggers, work with them, apologize for them if necessary. Listen to my partners or whoever I've been triggered with, listen to their experience so that they can release their experience of being with me when I'm triggered, so that we can come back to a place of homeostasis, right? Of trust and openness. Good luck. This really matters. It's really important. So I want to say to you, good luck. You can do this.